And we are live. Hello, everyone. Whoever's watching us on a Friday evening, thank you for giving us your time. I'm Yash Sabu, the social media manager at Pepper Content. And today we have with us Utkarsh Amitabh, the CEO at Network Capital. His designation does not, it's not restricted to just that. I'll get into the intro in just a few seconds. But first of all, thank you, Utkarsh, so much for giving us your time today. Really looking forward to this session.
Thank you, Yash. I really admire the work that you all have been doing at Pepper. And to discuss the passion economy with a platform that is trying to empower creators is energizing for me. And I really enjoy how you've built Pepper, the brand, by trying out different content formats. So it'll be interesting to jam today.
Awesome, awesome. Before we proceed, I'd love to know from the chat if we are visible, if there are no issues in audio, video. So if a quick yes or a thumbs up from the chat, if I could see that, that would be great. And while we wait for the chat to reply, I'll quickly set context to today's session. It's about passion economy and the side hustle revolution. How we got that title from is an interesting question, and I'll get to that soon. But Pepper is all about people. Okay, some yeses coming in the chat. Great, thank you everyone. So yeah, as I was saying, Pepper is all about creators and brands who want to follow their passion, entrepreneurs, freelancers who want to follow their passion and live that life that 4 to 5 years ago we could only imagine. But people like Utkarsh are out here living it today. So that's what we're gonna talk about. I'll quickly give a brief intro of Utkarsh. Utkarsh Amitabh is the founder of Network Capital, one of the world's largest mentorship and career advancement platforms that empowers people to make a living doing what they love and teaching what they love. He's a TED speaker and a World Economic Forum global shaper who represented the community at the annual meeting in Davos. Utkarsh also worked at Microsoft in a wide range of cross-functional roles across United States, EU, and India. He helped build India's first smart village, which was recognized in the Prime Minister's Book of Pioneering Innovations. Utkarsh writes for Harvard Business Review, Observer Research Foundation, Mint, The Economic Times, and World Economic Forum. And he's also the author of two renowned books, Seductive Illusion of Hard Work and Passion Economy and the Side Hustle Revolution, for which we are here today. And everyone who's watching this live session across all the platforms, we have a very exciting and exclusive giveaway towards the end of the session. So stick to the end till the end with us, and I'm very sure it's going to be a very insightful session. So I'll just jump right into it, Utkarsh. When I was reading your book, Passion Economy and the Side Hustle Revolution, I came across the acknowledgement section, and I'm quoting the first few lines from that. It goes like, since the beginning of this pandemic, I quit my job, made my passion project into a community funded venture, moved countries, got married, bought a new house, and embarked upon redesigning my life from scratch. It was exhilarating, challenging, exhausting, and confusing. So that's really amazing. A lot has happened with you in a short span of time. Can you talk us through each of these phrases briefly and how your passion played a major role in this transition?
Um, Definitely, yes. Pandemics accelerate history. So, what would have taken a lot of us a lot longer to do, in a way, got done in a couple of years. And for me, it has been both energizing and humbling in a lot of ways. And like all of us, also feeling sometimes, am I on the right path? Am I doing interesting stuff? But for me, I made Network Capital, which was my side hustle when I was working at Microsoft, just a weekend project that was empowering millennials to build careers that they find interesting. I made that into a full-time job, raised some money from Facebook, and we designed a full-fledged offering of people really achieving structured guidance from a tribe of trusted mentors by creating a learning ecosystem to do that. Now, at the same time, I was dating a wonderful woman, a French Lebanese computer scientist, and our wedding was supposed to happen on the 7th of June 2020. But the pandemic happened and everything was all right. So I had to basically ask myself, what's the kind of life do I want to build? And what's the kind of work that I want to do? What are the kind of people that I want to spend my work life doing? And the more I thought about it, it struck me that I absolutely loved my job at Microsoft. I had gotten a chance to, work with the absolute top of the pyramid in Microsoft. Sometimes helping out the CEO, sometimes helping out the president of the company. Doing my bit as a smart, ambitious young professional. And I loved the mission of the company. But I realized that now is the time to take some of the lessons that I've learned at Microsoft, at INSEAD, at Oxford, at other places that I've been to, and apply it into creating a mentorship ecosystem for young professionals like you and I, like everybody who uses Pepper, everyone who is thinking about what might career transitioning look like. So I said, okay, fine, let's do that. And in the book, I explain the art and science of doing it. If you want to really live a life where you're in Paris one afternoon, London in the other, you're going to Poland 2 days after, then you're in San Francisco, that kind of geographical mobility, then you basically need to become a citizen of the internet. You need to embrace the culture, and you also need to be economically free, economically independent. It doesn't mean that you need to be swimming in dollars, but it really helps to be in a position where you're not worried that, oh, what will happen if I don't get this client, or what will happen if I don't get this kind of income. So I said that, okay, how might I build a work life where I can do what I love, teach what I love, share it with millions of other people, create like a new kind of culture? And the answer came to me, I really need to make my side hustle my full time gig. So that's what I did. Quit Microsoft, started working on network capital full time, raised some money from Facebook, and then started documenting that adventure in this book in the form of multiple case studies, in the form of people that I had observed, places that I observed, and writing it in a way so that the person reading this book gets a very clear strategic roadmap of how might they design their work life in the years to come. And yes, my personal life has also been connected intimately with my professional life. Because when you're eventually dating somebody from a different country, different culture, and you plan to live across the world, you need to prepare yourself again, financially, intellectually, culturally, and so forth. So, yes, we did that. And then my partner and I, we decided to buy a beautiful house. And this was the first adult thing that we had done together. So it felt great. It was moving countries. So going from the safe space of a country that I knew intimately about, a country that I'd gone to school and college, undergrad, and then eventually trying to see, okay, can you really unbundle your work from employment? So today you read my bio, and it includes a bunch of things, but essentially it's the bio of somebody who has unbundled what he does into multiple streams. So I'm an entrepreneur, an author, an investor, a fellow at Oxford, a student. I do a wide range of things. And I think that this particular unbundling is not particular to me. It's a defining trend of millennials and Gen Zs around the world, where people are having multiple hobbies, multiple areas of interest, and now they're combining them all and creating a work that they are passionate about. My theory of change is that the way to make a difference in the world is to empower others to build careers that they find meaningful and impactful so that they can make a dent in the universe. And I'm motivated by this vision. Time will tell about how the world evolves, what my role is in shaping it. But so far, it's been an exciting journey, a journey that has taught me quite a bit. And so far, I'm very much in love with the problem that I'm trying to solve.
That's great. And I love the line that you love the problem that you're trying to solve. Tell me, Utkarsh, writing a book is in itself a big task, and you've written two. So, was this in your head since a really long time, or uh, the, does these events that occurred to you in a span of the last 2 years made you feel like you want to document this? Can you just talk us through that journey a bit?
Yes, I love to write. I always have been. But, my girlfriend at the time, my partner in life now, we met at a World Economic Forum conference in China. And that was literally our first meeting. And she said that, I was speaking on a bunch of panels. She said that you should write. And I said, yeah, that's good advice. Perhaps I should. And I just started, through her nudge and through the nudge of, my mom, who's a pretty well-known poet, into making writing a daily habit. So what I do is that every day, Network Capital subscribers get a long
Mhm.
form essay, and I do a bulk of that writing. So I've made writing a practice. And writing a book is mostly about consistency. If you're able to be consistent about your research and consistent about what you're trying to do, eventually the book comes through. This one is a thick book. Like there are quite a lot of
Yeah,
numbers and there's hopefully interesting ones. So you can't write it in 10 days or 20 days, or you can't like say that, okay, in 1.5 months I'm going to finish this. One, because the space is evolving so much. You are at Pepper, so you'd be seeing emerging trends in
yeah,
the economy. Things change so much so soon. But consistency is the key. So I was able to write 2 books in 2 years, roughly, because writing is a daily habit for me. I enjoy it very much. And I'm encouraged and enthused by people who read me. So a lot of the Network Capital subscribers are also very sharp individuals. So they build along with concepts, with ideas. Just yesterday, I was writing up a newsletter on how Benjamin Franklin worked, because he's a remarkable human being. He was one of the founding fathers of the US. He His research is as wide as population studies on one hand and physics on the other. So I was trying to figure out, how does this person do that much work on a day? So just researching about him, thinking about him, just gave me an idea. Oh, I should probably look at some of the great people that have been alive, and what's the kind of work regimens that they have. So you learn from the environment, and I love to follow my own curiosity. So if I'm curious about something, I'll dig deep, I'll keep digging deep. And eventually, it could be a short article, it could be a longer one, and it could even become a book. So I was, like I mentioned, in love with the problem of career transitions. Then I started falling in love with passion economy. What might that entail? And then I started falling in love with how great work happens. And when I combined all of them, basically my books resulted. And I would say that to anyone thinking about writing a book, it helps to be good at writing. It helps to nurture a kind of curiosity towards the world. But the most important skill is you have to actually commit to writing as consistently as possible. If you don't, it'll be harder to come up with a book that you can finish in a tight schedule.
I totally agree with this. Uh, Building a habit to write is something that I've been wanting to work on since so long. I I promised myself in the start of the year I'll write one long LinkedIn post each day, but
Yes.
couldn't live up to the promise. But it actually helped me reflect on the fact that it needs effort, and once you start doing it, I think it's a great hobby to start off with, but requires effort. And it's actually great that before writing the book as well, that you are a passionate writer, so it helped you along the way.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's
Yeah.
important that people, just the way you try to commit to having one long form post a day or a week, it doesn't matter what frequency you commit to. If you commit to a frequency, you have to stick to it. One of the things that Network Capital does is that we have a lot of B2B partnerships. So a lot of these
Hmm.
business partners that we have, we enable their companies to scale with the help of community, content, career advancement as a service, etc. And in the first discussion that I have with the CEOs, I just make it very clear.
Hmm.
If you're embarking upon this mission, that means that you're committing to spending your personal time and the time of your employees, half an hour a day, half an hour a week on this. If you don't,
Yeah.
we cannot work together. It's very clear to set the idea, set the
Mm.
expectations, And I think we're pretty intentional about it.
That's great. So I wanted to know more about the passion economy from you. How do you think the passion economy has evolved in the past 3 to 4 years since when
Yeah.
you started thinking around it and you acted upon it to cut to the present day? It's a totally different thing. So can
Yeah.
you just tell us about how it has evolved?
Yeah. Um, Let me give you some background and I'll give you some helpful pointers. So, when I started tinkering with the idea of network capital, I always knew that something like network capital should exist. Because, generally, haven't you felt confused about your careers? Everyone I
Yeah,
know, literally every person I know at some point has felt confused about his or her career. And in countries like India, there is, or most countries around the world, there is a little bit of a pressure of knowing what you want from the time you're 12 years old, 14 years old. And I think that's obviously that's completely nonsensical. It's impossible to know. It's very difficult to know where you want to take your work life at 12. You don't know enough of the world. If you told me, at 20 that you'll be living your life in a different country every week, doing what you love, teaching what you love, and actually making it financially viable, I would say it'll be good for it to come true, but I didn't really see a path towards that end. But I started it tinkering around or took the first minimum viable step of network capital in 2016 when I formed an informal Facebook group where people would come share their lessons, share their skill with other people. Simple idea, but implemented well, I would say. So I started this having no expectation of payback, or I didn't want it to result in anything beyond just an impact on the world. Whoever wants to come in and contribute to the culture is most welcome. If you don't come, because I was not dependent on it. Look, I had a pretty well paying, great job at Microsoft, rising pretty fast. So it was purely a hobby done because I felt something like this should exist. And I kept doing it until towards the end of 2020 with a combination of personal, societal, health related stuff that happened globally. I said, okay, now is the time. But at that time, I needed network capital to also financially work out. Because if you're saying no to a pretty well paying job and you're deciding to buy a house, build a life, move countries, etc., you really need to be financially in a position to do so. So it's changed or it evolved from being, say, just something I did out of curiosity to something that also needed to pay the bills in a substantially
hmm,
more expensive place. So that was personally a difference for me. And I think it also reflects a bit of a difference globally. Now, when you think of the passion economy, people are looking at their interests and seeing, can they create an income stream on that interest while remaining in love with the problem. Look, making a buck on the internet is not that hard. You can do anything. You can
yeah.
transcribe podcasts for a living, but that's not what you call particularly exciting work. It could be, but like it could be a little bit dull. What I've realized now is that people looked at their hobbies few years back as just something they did to nourish their soul. Now they are looking at their hobbies as an income stream, perhaps making it their only income stream or the dominant income stream. And the pandemic again sort of accelerated that history where the work history where people started revisiting their work lives and seeing, do I really want to do this for a living? Do I really see myself doing this for the next decade, next 2 decades? And when the answer was no, they started diving into their own curiosities, their own interests, and started asking themselves, if I didn't have a financial liability, or if I didn't have the need to be the good boy or the good girl, what might I do to nourish my own soul? And today, thankfully, there are tools and techniques and communities and platforms where you can come and do that for a living. As we speak right now, there is a person called Prateek Jain who's teaching a course on B2B product management on network capital. He's a Columbia Business School alum. He works at Twilio, does really well for himself. But he's teaching a course and he's making a pretty decent amount of income from that course, teaching something that he loves. He doesn't need to teach it because I think he's financially quite okay, but he's doing it because he feels that his future career might be a lot more of teaching, mentoring, and sharing of skills. And I see this as a secular trend. You will see a lot more people look at their hobbies and ask themselves, can I still be in love and make an income doing what I love? And the answer is yes, you can. It's not going to be easy, because when you work to fulfill your passion, you need to be prepared for more unpredictability. But it's definitely something that is very possible with the right mentorship and the right community and the right platforms.
Right. Thank you, Utkarsh, for that elaborate answer. And you mentioned that you were at Microsoft for quite a long time, and before that as well, I I took the pleasure of going through your LinkedIn and checking out all your past work, and I saw Deloitte, Harley Davidson alongside Microsoft as well. So that
And this Teach for India as well, another job that I really enjoyed.
yes, yes, right. So you cut to now, you are an entrepreneur, author, and a global speaker. But you've been on both sides of the economy, the traditional economy and now the passion economy. Can you talk about the pros and cons of both the
Yeah.
traditional economy and as well as the passion economy?
Yeah. Let me try and attempt it more as a comparative difference rather than a pros and cons, because that's very
Yeah,
personal. Look, when you work at a company, or when I mention to fellows that, hey, I'm like a fellow at Oxford, or I did my MBA at INSEAD, or I work at Microsoft, there is some amount of prestige attached to it, because people automatically assign or say, oh, Microsoft means smart, or Oxford means interesting, or INSEAD means, access to like a huge global network of very influential managers, etc., entrepreneurs. But these traditional institutions, which I am very much a beneficiary of, having been associated with them, they give insurance, they provide prestige, they give you social status, like people think of you in more favorable terms. You get meetings a lot more easily when you mention some of these things with people. Unfortunately, I'm just saying that is that. And then some of these institutions, because all of them have survived for such a long time, so there is what you call organizational history as well, which gives confidence. When you work in the passion economy, you have to create all of this yourself. You have to create your insurance yourself, you have to create your income yourself, you have to create whatever prestige means to you in the 21st century yourself, leveraging some of the institutions and networks and organizations that you've been a part of. But the onus is on you. Everybody knows Microsoft. Very few people
yeah,
today, in comparison, know network capital, right? When I similarly, like everybody would perhaps know Oxford or INSEAD, but network capital also offers a lot of these micro degrees, nano degrees in really interesting fields offered by the best professional. But a lot fewer people know about it. So you have to be the world builder, the brand evangelist, the sales and marketing person, the person who creates all aspects of it, of course, with your team, with your community, but the onus is on you, which means that you have to take that job seriously and responsibly. So it you can do either of the following. You can remain in the traditional economy and have a side hustle. You can follow the passion economy and be prepared for some unpredictability that comes along with it. You can create like a hybrid, which which was at least my story till the end of 2020. But the fact that you will need a side hustle is something that is just true. One of the ideas that I advanced in my book launch in London and in Nice was that we should all fire ourselves, because look, our jobs will become redundant, that is for sure, sooner than we think. And the way to reinvent yourself is to have a side hustle that you pursue seriously. I've had many side hustles in my life, as an actor, as a writer, as somebody who travels the world and documents a lot of my adventures. And a lot of these side hustles, because I've nurtured them fairly seriously, it has given me the network, the access, the skill that comes only when you do something seriously. And today, network capital is like the meta network of all networks. And then there is education, there's learning, there's mentorship built on top of it. But one of the reasons why it is interesting is because Me and a wide range of people from the early days were at the intersection of multiple networks. They saw how work gets done across industries. And I think that's something to keep in mind. If you're very risk averse, jumping into the passion economy without thinking about the consequences is perhaps not wise. You should obviously have a sense of your own risk tolerance and what you can handle and not. But today, thankfully, you don't need to just follow something without having a sense of the risk. You can actually conduct micro experiments, see how much do you love the problem, because your ability to build and scale a passion project comes down to one thing only: can you remain excited about the problem that you're solving over the long term? The day you burn out, right, or the day you feel less energized by the problem is the day the business or the venture sort of ends. I mean, it can still drag along for a bit, but it basically comes down to energy. I love this quote. A lot of building entrepreneurship, especially in the passion economy, is going from setback to setback with enthusiasm. And I love that line because anybody who's trying to do anything different, whether write a book, fund a company, build a company, do something interesting, there'll be lots of setbacks on the way. And the ones that somehow manage to be in love despite the setbacks are the ones who succeed, I think.
Great answer, Utkarsh. While you were answering, I was also going through the chat, and I'm seeing people like Ayushi and Garima. Ayushi is saying that she was about to sleep, but she got a notification, and she's glad that she joined this session. And Garima Gupta here is saying, "I'm so glad I've joined this session," and I too want to say that I'm so glad that I'm hosting this session. These insights are a gem for anyone who wants to pursue their passion. And pursuing their passion is one part of the job. I feel, Utkarsh, and monetizing it is another more trickier, challenging part. What
Yeah.
do you think someone who wants to pursue their passion and monetize it? What is some mental notes that they should be prepared of
Yeah.
before even taking the plunge?
Yeah. For me, Yash, the thousand true fans have been really helpful. So in my head, I had, uh, I had, I had told myself that I need thousand monthly paying customers in order to have the confidence to quit a pretty
Hmm.
well-paying job with a very high career, career trajectory, so to speak. And for me, those thousand true fans have been invaluable because they are the ones who've made introductions, who've told their friends, who've told their community members, and enabled me the the opportunities that have been super helpful. Look, I'm teaching in Oxford. I'm doing a wide range of things. I speak at a wide range of events. I get to invest on very favorable terms because of my thousand true fans, who one are paying customers of Network Capital, and second is because they love the mission. They constantly are looking for ways to support what we're trying to do. And in a way, these thousand true fans that I found early on, who were monthly paying subscribers, um, are the single biggest driving factor of network capital today. I do not like to look at success as a destination. I'm not chasing any destination. I am, financially quite free. I do what I love. I work wherever I want. I engage with people I want to be with. So I'm not. I'm exactly where I want to be, doing exactly what I want with people I want. No journey, no destination in mind. Like this is what I love to keep doing better every day. And you want to think very carefully, anybody listening, whether you're trying to build a coaching company, a mentorship company, or you want to start your own restaurant. Think carefully about that. But should you decide to go down that path, or maybe start a real estate company that brings interesting people together, whatever that idea might be, you need your first thousand. Once you have your first thousand customers, segment them further and look at your 100 like strongest fans. And in the book, I explained the difference between 1,000 true fans, 100 true fans, and 10 mega fans. So Go from 100, go from 1000 to 100, and then find 10. Basically, you should have a list of the social geometry of your, of course, like your broader community, but especially of those who really love you the most, who care for you the most, who resonate with the mission the most. Unfortunately, a lot of us are designed to focus on critics and skeptics a lot more. However, if you want to build something meaningful, you got to pay exclusive attention to people who care most about your success. So if you train yourself to focus on them, your chances of success go up a lot. There have been so many existential challenges that every builder, every creator, every entrepreneur goes through. And even at times like these, you really need the support of your thousand true fans. So go find them.
That's true. That's something that initially we followed at Pepper Content as well. We went on to build a 500K plus community of content creators and freelancers, but that was not the goal from day one. It was first all about finding the first 10 to 15 content writers. Back then, it was not even about content creators, it was just about content writers who could write what they're passionate about and monetize it.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally. That's, I guess, a very key point to note for anyone who wants to
Can I
follow
add
their
one
passion.
more to it? One more layer to it. So I would also be cautious of following the numbers game, like millions of
Hmm.
likes, billions of followers, and
Yeah,
this and that, because that is a very exhausting game. Uh,
yeah,
if you break down network capital's revenues, like 80% of our revenues now come from our B2B, business to business clients. And if even if you just look at our B2C business, 80% of the B2C business comes from uh, consumers, 100 true fans, 1,000 true fans who keep asking for more, who keep going for more. So we do have the numbers. Of course, we have we provide mentorship to 2 million school students with our partnership with the government of India and about 150,000 young professionals. However, what pays the bills, that actually keeps the ship running, is other people who pay, who really are in love with the product, the service, the idea, and are willing to pay a disproportionate amount to get that access, to get that level of service. So look at subscriptions carefully. In India, I know it's pretty challenging now with the
yeah.
regulations of the government, but like you got to look at it carefully. The second is that really understand your community, your 100,000 true fans, and be careful of the numbers game, because you don't want to be in a position where you're competing for likes and swipes, and that is just exhausting. Doesn't pay off particularly well for most people. For one or two it might, but for most people it doesn't. And I want everyone listening to this particular thing, everyone to who reads my book, who checks out networkcapital.tv, to try and become the upper middle class of the passion economy. I hope you become like the top 0.001%, but my goal for everyone is to be upper middle class in this space. And for that, you don't want to play the like and swipe game. You want to really play the engagement game. So for me, like Garima and the other person, like whose comment you read out, I was like, yeah, they're actually listening. I will pay like definite attention to their comments, and this a lot more than a like or just like number of views. These are meaningless to me. And I've built that business having a pretty decent understanding of what true engagement really looks like and feels like.
True. All right. We are moving towards the end of the session, and before I go on to announce the giveaway that we are doing, I have a couple of more questions for you, Utkarsh. First is that you were in India and you are now based in London, but you keep traveling to France and other places as well. So, how important is location as a like sitting? Would you be able to do the same thing sitting here in India? Would you be able to follow that same pursuit, or is it better when you do it in abroad? Can you?
Yeah. It's also my personal interest. Even when I was at Microsoft, a lot of my job entailed travel. So I've been, in the past few years around 85, 90 countries. So
Oh,
that's
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 amazing.
a lot of travel. So it's out of personal interest in well, and it's aligned with my mission. I really wanted to see the world as it is, and I didn't want to see the world as an Indian, as an American, or as a or like
Mhm.
whatever else. I wanted to see it as a global citizen who's very happy, very proud to have the Indian heritage, the Indian culture, the Indian citizenship, etc. But for me, it's really important to have a global outlook on the world because today's problems, whether it comes to education or climate crisis or technological disruption, just they need a global participation, a global framework of looking at it. So the forward of my book is being written by Klaus Schwab. Professor Schwab is the founder of the World Economic Forum, like a mentor to me and many others. And I've been inspired by communities like the Global Shapers community, INSEAD, the business school I went to, Oxford, again a fairly international university, and I wanted to build network capital into a truly international community. So it's important for me to travel, but yeah, the community definitely has an Indian flavor. I'm Indian, really proud of the fact that it's there. And the broader lesson here is that if you feel like doing something, if something is important to you, go do it. For the first, 23, 24 years of my life, I had barely been abroad. And the next 5, 6 years, I've been to, 90-ish countries. So life really takes dramatic turns if you're intentional about it. And for me, this was pretty intentional. I really wanted this to happen. And I'm glad that in my own way I have. And I hope others reading this book, others engaging with network capital, with pepper content, they look at, of course, their own countries, their own cities, but they also look at internet as, as the broader market or the community or the culture they can look at, draw inspiration from.
Got it. Okay, let's come back to the book again. This is something that I'm also reading currently, and we would love for everyone in the community to read it as well. So, can you just share 2 to 3 reasons why people should go ahead and read your book, Passion Economy and the Side Hustle Revolution?
Uh, I hope you find the title really interesting, but let me give you three
It is.
reasons. The first is that it's a strategy book, and it's a strategy book focused on case studies, numbers, and analyses of some of the most interesting professionals in the world. And having trained in business and engineering and philosophy, I've written the book trying to make sense so that it makes sense to people across backgrounds. So no matter where you come from, if interesting people and their careers interest you, this book will give you the strategic outline of how might you learn from them, adapt them. Second is the book will teach you how to unbundle your work from your employment. It'll give you a very clear framework of how you can monetize your side hustle, how you can create your passion into a viable profession. Um, my side hustle, even before I quit Microsoft, actually started paying more than Microsoft. And this was 2 years ago. So it has been a pretty interesting journey, and it told me and it made me realize that if you dig deep enough, there is really financial freedom and intellectual satisfaction that can come along with it. And mind you, I love Microsoft, I still do. I was just speaking to the president of the company 2 days back while I was in France, and have excellent relationships with everyone there. However, there comes a time and place for that, and there comes a time on doing what you care most about. And the third reason is that the book will teach you about career transitions. What's interesting, Yash, is that if you Google career transitions today, I'm the
Mhm.
first link that comes up, the non-ad supported link. So if you Google career
I'm gonna
transition,
do that right now.
go for it. So this book will essentially tell you about how do you make career transitions possible throughout their life. So the first link that comes up is
Yeah.
Harvard Business Review link that I
Yes,
wrote.
I can. Yeah.
It was very surprising to me because there's millions of articles on career transition and millions of platforms that offer that. But my HBR article essentially became the number one
Mhm.
searched article in the world on career transition. I think because this story appealed to people. And I think this book is a longer explanation of how do you make career transitions at scale repeatedly. So yeah, check out that HBR article. Hopefully, it'll enable your career transition, and if you enjoy that, you will perhaps enjoy the book and the network capital experience as well.
Awesome. It has been a really amazing conversation, Utkarsh. And as you mentioned, three very good reasons to read your book. So I would like to announce the giveaway right now. We are giving away 20 copies of Utkarsh's book, Passion Economy and the Side Hustle Revolution. Kunal from my team has already shared the post. The giveaway is simple. You will just have to like the post and tag two friends in the comments, and you could be one of the 20 people who could get the book. And I mean, I'm I'm so excited for the giveaway that I want to participate myself, even though I have the book with me. So
Well,
it's
I
just
hope you guys
something
gift
that
it to other people. And I'm really
yeah.
glad that Pepper does what it does. And, Yash, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you. Love the giveaway. Thank you for that. I want this book to reach every ambitious millennial on the planet.
Yes. And I also request the audience to follow Utkarsh on LinkedIn, follow Network Capital. They're doing some tremendous job. Be a part of their community. You'll learn a lot on a daily basis. And thank you, Utkarsh. That's all the time we had for today, but I would love to do this again. Maybe once you release your third book, that would be an interesting take.
Definitely. Looking forward to that, Yash. And thank you to the Pepper team for this wonderful session and the giveaway. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone who joined us today. Do check out the giveaway. It's live right now and it's live till the 4th or 5th of the September. You can check out all the details in the post link, or you can also check out the link in the comments here. And that's all for today. Thank you, Utkarsh. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.